Sure.
नमस्ते देवजानी जी, आपका बहुत बहुत दिल से स्वागत है हमारे इस पॉडकास्ट एपिसोड में, सुरक्षित ऑफिस वापसी सीरीज में. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for giving me the platform. It's an absolute privilege to be here with you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. All right, देवजानी जी, हमें बताइए कि अभी की ताजा स्थिति क्या है. If we talk about organization level, इस organization level में क्या चल रहा है when we talk about second wave and people are getting vaccinated? So what's at the current situation? Over to you now.
Thank you. I think that's an absolutely topical question, Abhi ke liye. There's a lot of expectancy. There's a lot of hope around the corner. With the vaccination going online and a fair amount of population already covered under the vaccination by now, people have become a little more upbeat than earlier. And it will not be wrong to say that the organizations are definitely looking at trying to start, getting back into normalcy. Because at the end of the day, I think everybody's realized that that new normal that we were talking about, कि आधे लोग घर से काम करेंगे और आधे से ज्यादा कभी जरूरत पड़ने पर ऑफिस जाया करेंगे, that is really not an optimal solution for a long-term, organizational beat. So having said that, I think the fact that we went in during the transition phase between the first wave and the second wave in too much of a hurry, people are a little more cautious this time. They don't want to push the envelope too fast, because despite the fact that vaccination is taking place, there are still questions around it. The fact that we still seem to be at a lower ebb of the number of cases that we are clocking of the COVID-19 cases, we still don't know whether there is a realistic third wave which is lurking around the corner. So it would be good to be prudent, and bid your time a bit, because we are talking about October. We're really talking about the time frame of October when we will see the start of the third wave in real strength, and that's not too far away. So my presumption at this point of time would be कि थोड़ा सा धीरे से हम फूक फूक के, जैसे कहते हैं ना, फूक फूक के चले हर स्टेप, because हर स्टेप हम फूक फूक के लें, ताकि we don't rush in, we don't create the same problems for ourselves as earlier. But at the same time, we definitely try and create a better working environment compared to what we have today.
Absolutely amazing, Devjani. काफी pointers जान के काफी अच्छा लगा. When we talk about कि हमें third wave, we are not sure what's happening after second wave. क्या होगा पता नहीं चल रहा है, पर आपने काफी उम्दे तरीके से बताया. हमें धीरे धीरे फूक फूक के स्टेप लेना है. That's more important. हमें अभी नहीं पता है, तो we have to be more responsible in our decision making concepts. Absolutely amazing, Devjani ji. Let's go forward. What are the policies and procedures, if you talk about कि हमें we need to take a step back and think about the employees, the workplace? What are the policies and procedures that you thinking as a leader should be the right step for your workplace, in case they are doing hybrid or in case they want to come back? So over to you, Devjani.
So look, I really don't see a possibility of 100% people coming back. That's not likely to happen. And let me tell you, Diksha, that's not just because of the COVID alone. That's because organizations have become smarter. Because of the first wave and the second wave, because of this hybrid version and allowing a load of the cost. You see, having an employee visit an office 365 days is a cost. Now, having had some bit of that cost, stay back at home and work from home, suddenly the organizations have become smarter and understood that in that manner, they can actually control a lot of their infrastructural costs. They don't need high-rise buildings. They don't need brick and mortar structures. They don't need fancy offices the way it has been till now. A lot of the commuting costs, a lot of the transportation provision that the organizations have had to do till now, वो अभी उतनी जरूरत नहीं पड़ रही है जितनी पहले हो रही थी. As a result, I think many of the companies are now thinking that what's my best beat? Should I be having only those number of people जिनके office आना बेहद जरूरी है, and let them come in once in a while, or let them come in at regular staggered manner, and let the back-end workers at least continue to work from where they are today, ताकि पूरी चीज को संभाला जाए, cost को inflate ना होने दे, and cost को अच्छी तरीके से control में रहने दे. I think those are some of the things which organizations are very prudently thinking through. Having said so, I'm going to be actually championing the cause of the work person here. Because as a human resource professional, for me, I think the comfort, the acclimatization, and the adaptability of the workforce today is what is of crucial importance. अगर उस नजरिया से देखा जाए, so today's workforce are not in a happy place. Let me tell you, when we used to want to go to office, it was not just merely a performance of duty. It used to be a real breather. It used to be a real space where one could find one's own bearings. It was a social syndrome where walking down corridors, breaking a cup of coffee with a colleague, or even taking a sutta break, as they say, in the outside corridors, used to be a very, very welcome 5-minute break from the routine, monotonous work that one used to have behind the desk. Now, catapulted that many of that part of that workforce has suddenly got catapulted into staying at home. And what do we have? In a 2-bedroom, sometimes in a 1-bedroom, okay, a studio apartment, a claustrophobic corner in one corner, and you have a desk, and you have a webcam, and you have a small little chair, and that poor fellow, without any qualms of even time limits, without even cognizance of whether it's a Saturday running into a Sunday, that poor fellow is looking into that laptop monitor day in and day out, having to stretch his work hours, having to stay in isolation, having to continue to do this kind of work without having any window as to knowing when is it going to be a little better than what it is today. Agar ye halat hai, then I think the HR as well as the management fraternity in organizations have a large responsibility. हम हाथ पे हाथ रख के बैठ नहीं सकते. We've got to design policies today which if we push people into work from home situations, we also have to create work ready homes. I'm very clear. WRH is also going to be an important phenomenon. If we want to create work ready homes, then making sure that there is infrastructural allowance, making sure that there is broadband availability, making sure that you have policies which don't intrude into the private space of work people. I think those are the new policies that we have to look at from up close and personal. Because without doing that, we are pushing a whole generation into the absolute labyrinths of mental unwellness. We're pushing people into depressive conditions. We're pushing people into areas where they don't have a breather anymore. So social kaha, लोगों से बात करना मुश्किल हो गई है. It's either watching social media on the phone or talking to managements and the bosses on the webcam. That's not a very happy story in life. I think that is the reason why we've got to wake up and look at policies and procedures in a very different way from now on.
Absolutely amazing, Devjani ji. आपने बताया कि हम हाथ पे हाथ धर के नहीं बैठ सकते. We need to make the policy at the right time. Very well said, Devjani ji. I love your this straightforwardness. I love the way you articulate. Awesome. Going forward, Devjani ji, what are your perspective on future of work? Like you mentioned, you already talked about कि घर से सब कोई वापस नहीं आ सकता. 100% cannot be come back. I mean, we cannot have that much occupancy right now. But what are your take when we talk about before third wave? हम अगर आपसे बात करें तो आप क्या perspective होगा? What you think the future work will look like? Over to you, Devjani ji.
The future of work is going to be, what we are calling the new wave of workforce management. Okay. And when we say new wave of workforce management, we're not just looking at the traditional systems of workforce, segments that used to be there earlier. पहले क्या हुआ करता था? There used to be 99 or 98% of permanent workforce, okay? And only about 2 to 3% of collateral workforce, which used to be contingent workforce. Yeah, contractual workers, जिसे हम कहते हैं. And most of that contractual work used to fall from basically the below the line kind of manual workspaces. So housekeeping, security, pantry, caterers, those used to be the kind of people who used to fall in those lines, who used to be on contract. But basically whoever mattered to the organization was really a permanent employee on a full-time contract. But when we have had this knockoff of the pandemic, and we've woken up to a fact that there lies a third or a fourth option for organizations to look at to really mix and match their workforce in various ways. We have the gig economy, which today has really set in. It's not as if it's a new phenomenon. We used to have the gig even earlier. We used to have people who used to come in and work for small term projects. But today, the gig has taken a shape which is bigger than ever before. So we have project people who would like to offer their services, who would like to come and say, okay, I'm a subject matter expert in this particular area. Please take my services, pay me well, and define the time period after which I'm gone. I'm gone to the next best bidder. Okay. So, I will go even one step forward. Gig to chodo, we have what are known as digital nomads today. I call them the digital nomads. They are fancy people. They read the digital space like nobody's business, but they are nomadic. They don't like to be tied down. They don't like a contract. They don't want to be told when to come into office and when to go home. They also don't like to be told that there is a whole lot of standing orders and disciplinary conditions under which you are going to be working. They would like to be left alone. They would like to be given a project objective. They would like a period to be defined. They are extremely intellectually vibrant people. So you've got to really respect their ego and their individuality and leave it to them and not breathe down their neck. The moment you create that empowered workforce and the moment you create that empowered space for them, you will have excellence coming out. But that is going to be only about 20% of your organization. Of course, 20% is much higher than what we ever had before. So a combination of a 20 to 25% of gig and digital guys who are going to come in from an experienced pertain, and the rest of the people who would be a mix of contingent as well as permanent workforce, some coming into office as required, and some actually taking care of the back end, working out of home, where the organization has created the right mechanisms for them, not only by way of providing infrastructure, but also making sure that the managerial and the leadership bandwidth takes care of those segments in a possible manner, in a proper manner. That's going to be the future of workforce management from going on here.
Well said, Debjani ji. You emphasized on workforce को सशक्त बनाना है. बिना सशक्त बनाए नहीं होगा. We need to make sure, we need to understand the sthiti of mental sthiti and the what employees are going through with.
Yes.
Right? इस tough time में employees के ऊपर क्या बीत रही है, हमें उसे समझकर उन सभी लोगों को सशक्त बनाने की जरूरत है. If we talk about the future of work and if we talk about hybrid and coming back to office, amazingly well said. Debjani ji, going forward, what are the tools, techniques, what are the technological tools you think that should be used or should be taken care by any organization to make sure the touch points are completely zero? And if you're working half hybrid and half work from office, both can be managed pretty well. So over to you, Debjani ji, what are your thoughts? Over to you.
See, this is probably the most fun element, that I like. Because around 18 or to 24 months back, Diksha, we were all those head honchos, the C-suite people who were going into conferences and seminars and talking to the dozens, saying the digital wave is just around the corner. AI is about to happen. Machine learning will come at its own pace. Internet of Things is here, but then don't worry. There's a lot that's going to still have an interface of the human being. We can't push that away. So it was almost like, while we knew it was around the corner, we still didn't warm up to it quite so much. Because at the end of the day, your own competence was also at stake, right? So that entire C-suite people needed to deal with the new realities of technology as much as, they spoke about it. But somewhere there were large gaps. And I believe that the gap does not exist, much as we would like to say that the gap exists in the working people. Let me tell you, the gap also exists in the leadership domain. The gap exists in a lot of managerial competence. We still haven't got the wherewithals to understand the philosophy and the execution behind technology and what the burst is all about. So having said that, now when we have to contemplate, because of the pandemic, which is pushed AI and pushed technology through our doors and windows, we have no choice. We've woken up one fine day and we found ourselves inside our homes, and we've told ourselves that better we adapt technology than it's too late and we become redundant. Okay. So as a result, we are now looking at solutions left and right. We're looking at what can AI really do? Is it only good for transforming the monotonous and routine part of the jobs? Or is it something that can come into play, which can create solutions for us, which is no touch, okay, high visibility, all right, maintaining all the protocols of the new reality, making sure that when we walk into office, all the little things towards hygiene, towards sanitation, towards a greater awareness of creating a far more wellness prone environment, can we have those solutions now coming through technology? I think those are the kind of inputs that every manager and leader today needs to warm up to. And irrespective of whether I feel I'm comfortable about it or not, I think we just need to understand there is no choice anymore. So no touch affiliations, okay, whether you're walking into the office, whether right from, when your sensory mechanisms, which can gauge that there is a rhythmic pattern available in front of the door and it opens automatically. I think there are plenty of solutions available. Many organizations are already putting in place such solutions. Many are contemplating, some are taking their time to work out. I would feel that if we look at the future, the same pace at which each of these organizations are going to adapt themselves to the new technology beats, that'll be their trajectory of growth. Because growth from now onwards, profitability from now onwards, is going to be deeply linked to how well can you create the new workplace for the future.
Superb, Debjani ji. You are a fantabulous speaker. I must say, I am glued to your interaction. I'm glued to the insights that you're giving to us on basis of technology and lot many aspects. I love the points that you mentioned. That her 8 point pe, like the moment employees coming inside the building till the time he's spending his hours and he's going out, every touch points has to be managed. An organization should apt some sort of technologies that help them and which is in the budget.
Absolutely. Well, this is the time. Sorry. Just one last point. This is the time to go back to the drawboard. We have to not only map the entire life cycle of an employee while he walks in and walks out of the office, but at every important interjection, we have to provide the solutions. That's how it's going to be.
Amazing, Debjani ji. Going forward, Debjani ji, end of the show, the last question, which is Dil Se Wala question. Debjani ji, अपने दिल से कुछ भी ऐसे बात या लेसन हमारे व्यूअर्स को बताएं ताकि वो इस मुश्किल की घड़ी में मोटिवेट और इंस्पायरिंग फील करे. Over to you, ma'am.
काश मेरी हिंदी आप जैसी सक्षम होता. Unfortunately, my Hindi is not that strong, so I have to still recourse back because कुछ words जो आपने हिंदी में कहा इतनी powerful थी. I wish I could really borrow them from you. We have gone through a lot in these last 24 months. Okay, you and me are the privileged ones. Even sometimes when we feel frustrated and bad about our world changing around us, we are still in a better position. But look at what's happened outside in the real world. Okay, there are millions and millions of people who are workless, homeless, hearthless today. Okay, and this is a phenomena which is global. मैं अगर दिल से कहूँ, I would not want even a single person to lose hope, because जिस दिन हम hope छोड़ दें, हमारी जिंदगी की अंत हो जाती है. So I am an eternal positivist, Diksha. I believe in positivity. I believe in the strength of the word, the power of the word. हर टाइम हमें अपने से पॉजिटिव बातें करनी चाहिए, बिकॉज उसको छोड़ के हमारे पास और है ही क्या. You have the faith in the Lord Almighty and you have the power of your own word. अगर आप अपने को बोलते जाएंगे कि मैं सक्षम रहूंगी, मैं सक्षम रहूंगा अपने जगह पे, and I will reinvent myself, I will keep learning new skills, वो कितना छोटा ही क्यों ना हो, लेकिन हम थोड़ा थोड़ा करके कुछ और सीखेंगे, कुछ और जानेंगे, कुछ जानने की कोशिश करेंगे, ताकि ये नई दुनिया जो बस रही है, ये नई चीजें जो हो रही हैं मेरी आजू बाजू में, एटलीस्ट आई कैन फिट इन वन कॉर्नर. That's important, because if I can't make myself fit into those corners, I will continue to languish in the same situation as I find myself today. And वो बहुत बड़ी दर्दनाक कहानी है. I wish we as a fraternity can reach out to as many people. हम कर रहे हैं, हम सब मिलके कर रहे हैं. We're trying to make sure that as many people can be reinstated, as many people's homes can be taken care of. A lot of orphans have happened in this period of time. How can we take care of that? As part of alumni segments of schools, colleges, corporates, we are reaching out to every single post. और ये सच में मेरे दिल से आवाज है कि जितना हम कर सके हम करें, because I feel we are still privileged when compared to the larger part of the world today. तो हमसे जितना हो पाएगा, और जब हम कहते हैं, I don't mean me at all, I mean our fraternity. जितना हमसे हो पाएगा वो भी आज के लिए कम है. So ये ना सोचे कि हम बहुत कुछ कर रहे हैं. We should just continue to do our maximum. Thank you.
Thank you, Debjani ji. It was wonderful. I think हम लोग सिर्फ पूरे ब्रह्मांड या पूरे समंदर में सिर्फ 1% या उससे कम का ही योगदान कर रहे हैं, बट हमें हिम्मत नहीं हारनी. जैसे आपने यू राइटली सेड, हर दिन हमें पॉजिटिव अफर्मेशन अपने लिए करना है और अपने आसपास के लोगों को भी पॉजिटिविटी से भरपूर रखना है और उनकी हेल्प करनी है जितनी हमारी क्षमता हो. वंडरफुल सेड. थैंक यू देवजानी जी फॉर बीइंग ऑन द शो. अपना कीमती वक्त देने के लिए बेहद शुक्रिया. थैंक यू सो मच.
Thank you so much for having me here. I wish this platform so much luck because you're spreading a lot of cheer and goodwill around. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Debjani ji. Jai Hind.